Welcome back to the baseline. And today, uh, part one of a two-part podcast where we're doing our top 20 greatest outfielders of all time. And join me, as always, is Craig and Al. And guys, how we doing?
Awesome, man.
Fantastic.
Thanks for having us as always. Love joining with my man Craig and talking greatest of all time stuff.
Yep,
Yeah.
this one was definitely really hard, but I'm also sure we're gonna have a lot of fun with it. So
Yeah, perfectly said, Craig.
Oh, I agree. I know on my list I have like a lot of well-known outfielders that did not make my list, and I am kicking myself in the you know what just because I left them off, and I'm like, how the hell did I manage to do that? But yeah, like you said, should be a lot of fun. Hope maybe the one where we have a bunch of different guys on each of our lists, which would be fun as always.
I
Uh,
actually made a conscious effort not to have a huge number of honorable mentions. I have like 6 or 7. That's it. Because if I wanted to, I could have 45.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
I just wanted to keep that under control, so I kept myself at a good number of like 6 or 7.
I'm
yeah,
trying to
I
remember
agree.
how many because I was looking at the wrong thing when I told you how many I had yesterday, Craig. I had less. It's like I think I'm under 10. I'm semi-reasonable.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm with you guys. I'm with you guys. All right. So yeah, let's kick off this list. This one we're gonna do 20 through 11, and then we'll find a day to do 10 through 1. But yeah, let's kick this off. Which my number 20. I figured he was gonna make my list, but I found obviously more guys above him. So to kick off our list, my number 20 is shoeless Joe Jackson.
Okay. Love it. Love it. He is not on my list, but he's
He's
Wow.
one
not.
hell of a player. And he was
He's
on
not on
almost
mine.
every list I looked at.
Yeah, he's not on mine, but he's lifetime 356 batting average, and I still am not convinced he threw that world. He was part of the throwing of the World Series.
It's hard to throw a series when you bat over 400.
Hit the
Yeah.
series only home run and did not commit an error.
Right.
So how is he trying to lose?
And it's not like I think we know at this point in all of our mature points of our lives that a legal verdict is not necessarily the truth.
Right.
Yeah, I
He
agree.
did
Yeah.
apparently he did take their money, but he was just going to take their money and screw them over. I think.
So he's
But
guilty of being a little bit of scummy, but not of actually cheating.
absolutely, yep,
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, that's say that batting average again. What was it? 357?
356 lifetime batting average.
56. That's crazy. I mean, that's
Yeah.
enough right there for him to be on this list.
Yeah. And he still finished with over 1,000 hits as well, which is crazy. Um,
Yeah, because he had to retire. What was it? He got thrown out when he was 31.
yes.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
missed a
that's
lot
crazy.
of good years.
Um, but I put him on this list because I'm looking at just the stories alone fascinate me. I don't know if you guys have ever heard this, but he got his nickname because he got blistered feet from a new pair of shoes. He played without spikes in one game, and he hit a triple to where this is how he got his nickname, and I'm going to curse, where an opposing fan stood up and screamed on the top of his lungs, "You shoeless bastard, you." um, then listen to this, because we've had some crazy guys we talked about and had like their rituals, like Wade Boggs with the chicken and other guys. Listen to this ritual that he did single. He had hairpins in the back of his pocket. He practiced his arm strength one at a time by extending his bat as far as he could. And he did this. His eye muscles. He exercised his eye muscles by staring by a lit candle one at a time until it went blur, and then he'll shift to the other eye.
What?
What?
Yeah, I swear to God, I that was a ritual he did to exercise his eye muscles.
That's awesome. I've never. That's incredible. I've never heard anything like that, and that is awesome.
And here's another interesting thing. His bat is 6 inches long, and the weight was 48 ounces, which is 12 ounces heavier than the modern day bat they use now.
Oh yeah, all the bats were a lot heavier than everybody who used the heavy bat that back in the day.
Yeah, and then of course, Walter Johnson said the greatest natural ball player I've ever seen, and Babe Ruth actually copied the way um he put his feet and the way he batted from Shoeless Joe Jackson.
No kidding.
Hmm.
That's really cool. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
And and then here's a story because you guys brought up the whole scandal and stuff, and this one actually makes me sad, but I thought it was interesting. But when he had to retire, he actually built in his hometown. He bought a shop, and so he did that. And Ty Cobb actually went to the shop, and he's looking directly at Shoeless Joe Jackson, where Joe Jackson is um, having him um, like uh, uh, like a regular customer. And Ty Cobb, and I quote, said in an interview, he said Joe Jackson looked so miserable that I even went up to him and said, "Hey, Joe, don't you remember me?" And his response was, and I quote, "I do, but I because of everything that happened, I didn't think you want me to."
Oh
Wow.
wow.
So he was afraid that, like if he
Yeah.
would say something, it's so that's
Catch crap about the scandal.
yep.
Yep. Yep.
So
Very
yeah,
interesting.
very interesting facts about about Joe Jackson.
That's
Um,
amazing, man. And can I highlight one part of that story that you don't hear very often, and that's Ty Cobb being a decent human being.
yeah,
Right. You never hear anything about Ty Cobb being a good guy.
uh,
Yeah, that might be the first time I've ever heard anything about him being a decent guy. That's awesome. Wow, really good stuff on Shoeless Joe, Jordan. That's great.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I had to do long and hard, and once I heard the fan shouting and his ritual, I'm like, I have to put him on the list because I don't think anyone stood at a candle every day until your eye got blurry.
Oh, that's awesome. It's like some crazy kung fu movie training sequence. I love
All
it.
right,
Oh, that's wonderful. Great stuff, Jordan. Greg,
so
feel
next,
free to go next, man, if you'd like.
All right. My number 20, and he just made it in at least one or two of my other lists. He didn't make it, but I end up going on him because he's one of my favorites, and that is Daddy Longlegs, Dave Winfield.
Oh, nice. He's one of my honorable mentions.
he is my two.
Did you know Dave Winfield finished top five in MVP voting when he was 40 years old?
I did not know that, and that's an awesome stat. That's incredible.
He did. Yep. Top five MVP voting at the age of 40. 465 homers. He had threw in another 220 steals, 350 on base, 3,000 hits. Pretty much anything you want. Had a cannon in the outfield for an arm.
Yep.
Just a five-tool player.
Great call, man. Yeah, he's one I wanted to get on my list, and I just didn't manage to do it. But he's awesome. One of my favorite players to watch when I was growing up. Absolutely great call. And I didn't remember him. What was the thing about 40 again?
He was 40 years old, and he finished top 5 in the MVP voting.
That's amazing.
Yep,
That's
he was in the
amazing.
World
That's
Yeah.
Series in
yeah.
1992. You got won the Roberto Clemente Award, 7-time Gold Glove, 6-time Silver Slugger, 12-time All Star, and of course a Hall of Famer.
Yeah. Love it. Yeah. Winfield's one of my a large group of favorite players that weren't Phillies for me growing up. That's awesome.
One of my favorite non-championship seasons for the Yankees was the year that him and Mattingly were going for the batting title at the same time, and they were like tied going into the last game. And he went 3 for 5, and Mattingly went 4 for 5 and won the batting title.
Oh, that's freaking awesome, man.
Wow,
That's
nice.
awesome.
And if you
What a
notice,
pair.
nobody sat out like they would now.
Yeah, right, exactly. That's so cool. That's so cool. Yeah, that's real baseball players right there, man. That's awesome.
40 years old, he still hit 26 home runs. That's insane. Um, and
Look at his other
108
numbers. He had a great year that year.
And by
yeah,
the way, it was so rare to
108
play to that
RBIs.
age back then, too. You know, people weren't just playing to 40 like they do now, you know?
Yep. Yeah, he batted 290.
Yeah,
26 home runs,
290.
108 RBIs, 92 runs.
That's
Yeah.
insane. Yeah,
Yeah,
great player
great
though.
year.
That was definitely a guy that I was fighting to get onto this list, but I just couldn't. I don't know why. I couldn't go on, but I like Dave Wingfield. He's a really really good player.
Yep,
Absolutely.
yep,
And Daddy
yep.
Longlegs is a great nickname. Awesome.
All
All
right.
right. Well, my number 20, and this one, I would be willing to bet neither of you have them on your top 20, this guy on your top 20, or even on your honorable mention, but I'm going to make a case why he deserves to be.
Okay.
And that is a homer pick of mine, Richie Whitey Ashburn. And can I ask you first? I'm assuming this guy wasn't on any lists for either of you.
He was not on
No.
mine at all.
Cool. And it's totally understandable. Here's the case for Richie. And he will be the lightest hitter on my list by far. The man had, and he played he was well past the dead ball era. He played in the 50s and 60s. And he had 20 some home runs for his career. Where is it? 29 home runs in 8,000 plus at bats. Okay. Like that is
Wow.
a prodigious lack of power. All right. The most home runs he ever hit in a season was 4. Oh no, wait, I'm sorry. He had 7 in his last year in the bigs at 35 years old. That's his crowning power achievement. But he did bat 308 for his career, and he has 2,574 hits. Scored a lot of runs, did a lot of good stuff. But here's the case for Richie Ashburn, and this what I found interesting. Philly fans were talking for years about how Richie should be in the Hall of Fame. He retired in the early 60s, didn't make it until 1995. All right. Now, this is the headline of an article I found, and this is the wonderful case for Richie Ashburn. Richie Ashburn, arguably the first Hall of Famer elected because of his defense.
Oh, okay.
All right, now check this out, and this is where it gets really interesting, and this is where the case becomes clear. When baseball statisticians started using defensive metrics in the 1990s, it became pretty obvious Ashburn was one of the best defensive outfielders to ever play the game. His defensive statistics had him rated higher defensively, and brace yourself for this, than Willie Mays and Roberto Clemente, the two considered among the best ever in the field. Ashburn's defense was on par with Ozzie Smith, who also made the Hall as a defense first player.
All
That's
right.
the
Well,
case for Richie Ashburn.
that's a good case.
Yeah,
That is
I'm
a
man.
down with
great
that.
case.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
And unfortunately, he lived in a time when we weren't seeing highlights, and all that. But his range was epic. Suppose I don't know how they measure this range. A lot of defensive stats I don't really understand how they calibrate them. But if you go by these stats, he had the second best range in center field in the history of baseball
All time?
of all time.
Wow.
Holy cow.
Yep, it's crazy. So That's why, and so and people didn't understand that back then. They appreciated that he played great D, but where they didn't until Bill James and all these stats came along, it wasn't quantifiable other than by eye. So once that happened, he was quickly put into the Hall of Fame after having to wait for 30 some years.
Yeah,
And
no
his
doubt.
nickname is Whitey, by the way. I don't know if I said that. Richie Whitey Ashburn.
It was insane. I'm looking at his baseball reference page, and like almost every single year, there's a number in bold, which like that's which is crazy. I don't think I've ever seen that.
And you like that. Yeah,
Yeah, you
definitely.
have to.
Yeah, he had a lot of triples. He led the league in plate appearances 4 times. He led the league in batting average twice. I mean, it wasn't like he didn't hit.
Oh,
He just wasn't a power guy. Um,
449. Holy,
yeah, 440. You're seeing his on base percentage a year. He hit 338.
yeah,
Yep.
holy shit. And then
Yep.
he almost had,
Yeah, he had another one 440 when he batted 350.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. He had an 881 OPS in the season when he hit 2 home runs. Think about that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
that is not, that's insane. Geez, like look at this. His second year, he had 662 at bats, and which led the
Oh yeah,
majors.
there I see it. Yep, yep.
662.
Yeah, man. And it's not like he didn't walk either. You know what I mean?
No, yeah,
He had a
he led the league in plate appearances. Even more than that, he led the league in plate appearances 4 times.
4 times,
Yeah,
led the league in hits 3 times, triples twice, walks 4 times. I mean,
Stolen
he did
bases
it all.
once.
Yeah,
Walks.
yeah.
Yeah,
He stole some
stolen
bags
base.
too, man. Yep.
yeah.
Uh,
That's wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, he was great, man. And I really like one of the fun things about this exercise is being able to highlight people that maybe in our minds sometimes don't get enough. And this is definitely one of those for me. He's a legend in Philly. He's not as well known outside, but he sure should be based on his defensive prowess. He was something else.
I
I
agree.
agree.
Yeah.
Right on. And last thing I'll say, real quick, is he was part of my favorite baseball announcing team of all time. And obviously it's a homer thing, but him and Harry Callis did the announcing together from the early 70s until Whitey died in the late 90s. And they were magic.
Oh, that's awesome. I like that.
Wow.
Yeah, loved them. So cool. There's Whitey Ashburn.
Oh, that's a good pick, Al. I'm really happy you brought him up.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, you're welcome. Oh, that's awesome. All right. I guess I'll go 19, which I kind of have something similar. Like I've heard the name when I looked up this guy, and I'm gonna bring and I had to pull him up just because I mean he is in the Hall of Fame, but didn't get in until I want to say like 2022, so like 3 years ago. He ended up getting in, but I like the player. I think he deserves more credit, and I'm gonna go with which is a quote: the first Latin player to play in MLB, and that's Minnie Minoso is my number 19.
Love it. Nice. That's a great name right there.
That is a great name.
Yeah, guy, his career 299 average, 2,110 hits, drove in, had 1,093 RBIs, 216 stolen bases. Um,
It's so
led the
weird.
A.
Some of the numbers on Baseball Reference are like slightly different.
Oh, I just looked this up. Yeah, I actually looked up on the MLB web page, and this is what they
They
had.
had, they had how many
And
RBIs?
this it says right here 1,093.
This has
Yeah,
1,089.
I've run it. Yeah, and I've run into this, man. Sometimes what it is,
And
although that
unless they MLB is combining both his um time in the majors and in the Negro leagues.
Yeah, mid that could be
that could be.
possible.
Yeah, that could probably be it. But yeah, that I looked up on MLB for
Yeah,
this.
all the numbers are just a little bit off. Not a whole lot, but just a little bit different.
just enough to mess with you, Craig. And I've run into that too. And one of the other things I've come up against is, and I don't think it's a case this time, but is sometimes if you look up most RBIs ever at right field or whatever, right?
Yep.
They'll give you a guy and give you a total, say 1,500 RBIs. But he played DH for 275 at bats and had 264 RBIs there, and they don't include that in the outfield total.
Yeah, that's dumb.
It's very
Yeah,
confusing, is
that's
what I'm
yeah,
saying, and
that's
I'm
yeah,
with you. It's tough sometimes.
yeah. No, that is pretty dumb. Okay, yeah. Well, anyway,
But yeah, Mini.
yeah, led the AL in stolen bases and triples 3 times. I don't know if this is true, but I saw this and I wrote it down. I saw it actually on a couple of websites, so I'm gonna say it must be true. But he played for the White Sox in '76, and it says that he was in his 50s, becoming the second oldest player to record a hit, and played in like 5 decades in the major leagues. And then also, while he was in his playing career, played in the Mexican League from like 45 to 61 just to play ball because he enjoyed it.
Wow.
That's incredible. Minnie. I remember reading about Minnie when I was young, and it was part of it was that he played so long, and part of it was he was a early trailblazer for Latinos. And yeah, he's a legend, man. That's a great name. Love it.
Actually, here's a funny thing. He actually wanted to play in 1982, but he would have been 58 years old, and the White Sox said absolutely not.
Not surprising, man.
So
Those Latin guys want to just keep playing and playing. They love the game. Like Robinson Cano is still playing right now in some sort of Latin American league
yeah,
That's
and,
amazing.
and and hitting well. I think he's like batting like 330 or something in that league right now.
That's
The last
awesome.
couple of
I
years.
love
Yeah.
that, man.
yeah,
I used to
it's
love keeping track of where Ricky Henderson was playing until he was like 57. You know. I saw him play in my we have the Lancaster Barnstormers in Lancaster that used to be in the independent East Coast League that the Long Island team is part of, and and Ricky played in that league for a couple years, and we would go check him out. Man, he would still crack it. He'd walk 4 times a game. You know, it was
Yep.
great.
Yep.
and then also Orlando Cepeda said he wouldn't be where he is if it wasn't for Manny Minoso. He said Manny Minoso is is to Latin players what Jackie Robinson was to um, you know to the black players in that time.
No doubt, man. And by the way, you mentioned that he did play in the Negro leagues. He didn't start in major. His baseball counting stats didn't start until he was 27 years old. So it makes it
Wow.
that much more impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, and on
Yep.
Baseball Reference, by the way, it says that he played 2 games for the White Sox in 1980 at 56 years old. Did you already say that? Did I miss that?
Uh, I didn't see that. I saw that he was
Did you see that? Did you
53.
see that on Baseball Reference, Craig?
What is this? What is it? What? I'm sorry.
Go to Minnie Minosa's Baseball Reference, and I'm seeing it says in 1980 he played 2 games, had 2 at bats, and went 0 for 2 at 56
Let's
years old.
let's see. I wouldn't be surprised. All
Oh
right, I'm
yeah,
on
this
it.
year.
Baseball Reference. 1980, 2 games, 2 plate appearances, 0 for 2. 56 years old.
I love it. I love it.
Holy
Oh, that's
shit!
awesome.
I did not know that. I knew his 52 age season. Hey, still Jesus. Okay,
Incredible.
yeah. Well, I mean, he wanted to play, so good. Congrats on him.
That's awesome, man. Hey, great call. That he did not make my list or my honorable mentions, honestly, but that's a great one, and it's a cool one that you brought up. I love it.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, yeah. I wonder, by the way, because his lifetime batting average is 299. I wonder if that 0 for 2 at 56 dropped him below 300.
It
No,
probably
that.
did.
I mean, 0 for 2, would it have dropped? I mean, when you got that many plate appearances and at bats,
I kind of doubt it, but it's possible if he was already hanging on the precipice.
yeah, it's definitely possible. Well,
That's fun.
we can actually, real quick,
Oh, you can do the math.
I'll calculate the batting average without those two at bats.
I love it. I love it. That's awesome. Yeah, Minnie Minosa, man, what a great name. Just a did he have a nickname, by the way? Because you don't really
Actually,
meet
I'm pretty
Minnie.
sure his nickname was Minnie.
Minnie, duh. That's like when that's like, remember when we did catchers and I told you guys I started looking up Yogi Berra's
You
nickname?
with
Whoopsie.
that. I'm like, huh?
He was at 299 without those two at bats.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Okay.
That would have been awesome in a weird way, though, if it had gone that way. That's priceless. Oh, I love it. Thank you,
Well,
Craig.
in
That's awesome.
1976, he had 8 at bats with only one hit. If I get rid of those, he'll be over 300 for sure.
Yeah,
Yep.
I bet. Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome, man. I
That,
love it.
no,
Oh,
uh,
it's so priceless.
uh,
All right.
all right. Craig, you're up.
Alrighty. My number 19 is Ichiro Suzuki.
I love it. I wanted him on the list so bad.
Wow.
He's one of my honorable mentions. I
Yeah,
really wanted to put him on the list. That's
me,
awesome. You did.
me too. Yeah.
I mean, I'll tell you, even though it was in the Japanese league, he compiled over 4,300 hits.
Yeah.
The
Hmm.
fact that he came here at age 27 and still was able to get 3,000 hits and 500 stolen bases is insane.
Nuts.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Absolutely crazy. And talk about
Yeah.
leading the league in like plate appearances and on base percentage. He had years where had 760 plate appearances.
Oh, yeah, man. He's something else, man. He really was. I mean, there's very few people in the history of the game I enjoyed watching hit more than Ichiro. I watched him hit balls that were bounced by the pitcher for hits multiple times.
Yep, yep. He led the league in hits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. Finished with a 311 average, 1,400 runs, and again, all those uh, numbers from the Japanese league are not counted here. But if you do count just the hits, he has over 4,300.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
And of course, he
I
won an
mean,
MVP and Rookie of the Year in the same year with 242 hits and 56 steals and a 350 batting average.
Incredible.
First
Incredible.
year.
yep.
Yeah. Welcome to the big leagues.
I
Hey,
mean,
I wonder
so
if he can transition from Japanese baseball.
Yeah, in 3 years later, he batted 372.
Mm, yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. And that was
He,
the biggest
you,
war season he had at 9.2, which I still don't totally understand, but it just means one hell of a year. And that 262 number is
you,
large and in charge.
you want to know the
Incredible.
262
crazy?
hits.
You want to know the crazy thing is? When he got inducted into the Hall of Fame, like they were doing all these clips about each and every player, and Ken Griffey Jr., who around the time was playing with Seattle, but when he came back and in his later years with Seattle, he would always tell stories, and and even like Edgar Martinez and all these guys were saying like if Ichiro wanted to, he would hit at least 50 home runs per season. But Ichiro didn't want to. He just wanted to get his batting average up. He was holding back. And they said if he wanted to, he
Yeah,
would easily hit
yeah,
50 home runs.
yep,
I
yep. I
love
heard
that.
that too. He had way more power than he showed, but he didn't want to sacrifice batting average for a few more homers.
Yes.
which is
But in
insane.
like
Like that's
batting practice, he would be launching them like anybody else,
I love
launching it.
it. I
um,
love that.
and then
Incredible.
also, to me, I know I said it a few times when we done like the World Series, the Hall of Fame podcast. I still think even when Otani is also in, I think this is the best Japanese ball player we've seen in history because not a lot of guys from Japan to MLB have contribute like Hideki Matsui or Hideo Nomo. Like these guys, like he was really one of a kind in his time when he's playing.
Yeah, I mean, Matsui's probably going to catch him if he keeps going, but he hasn't yet. And right now,
You mean
Ichiro
Otani?
Solo at the
Oh,
top of the Japanese Mount Rushmore.
oh, you mean Otani?
Is what did I say?
You
You
said
should Matsui.
Matsui.
Oh God, sorry. Yes. Godzilla has a special place, but
I
not the
mean,
top.
he could. Did you guys see that? I know we're getting off topic. Did you see that video not too long ago? I think it was like a month ago. Oh, it was like a tournament. Matsui at however the heck in his 50s, he launched a home run in the
Oh
third
yeah, I
deck
saw
or
that.
two.
I, I saw that video. Yeah, and Ichiro was the head coach, right?
Yeah,
Ichiro was on the bench, and Matsui's in his 50s, and he hit it like an upper deck home run.
Unbelievable. That's so awesome.
which is
Matt,
yeah.
one last thing on Matsui, he has the largest head in the history of the New York Yankees.
Oh.
Literally, like it's not even like he literally the largest hat size ever for any Yankee in history.
That's awesome.
So
That's awesome. Oh man, I didn't realize Godzilla was a reference to the head size.
Yeah, he had a huge dome piece.
and then yeah, it's funny.
That's my favorite fact so far today.
That really is. And then
Oh,
uh
one last Ichiro fact, real quick, if I could. He went through a 10-season stretch, starting with his debut, where he didn't have less than 206 hits in a season.
Yep, yep. And he played almost every game all the way through his first 12 seasons.
Yeah, incredible.
157, 157, 159, 161, 162, 161, 161, 162, 146, then 162, 161, 162.
oh, you know what? Here's
uh,
the thing, because I feel like every time we do these lists, we always have a guy who has like a record or something.
mhm.
Ichiro, 262 single season hits. We think we'll ever see that ever again?
Probably not.
Yeah, man, it's so rare too. Because the other thing that Ichiro did that is phasing out of the game is he didn't walk a lot. You know, his on base percentage is only like what 30, 40 points above his batting average, which is rare in the Hall of Fame. That's a rare trait in the Hall of Fame.
Yep,
Hmm.
And
yeah. Every year, yeah. About a 350, on base was 381.
yeah, there you go. There you go. Um, so yeah, it's an interesting thing, man. You know, he had a different approach to the game. He swung all the time, and hence hitting bounced balls. And so because the approach has changed in the game that much. I have a hard time seeing it happen until it swings back. If it ever does.
Yeah,
Yep. The hits leaders now are all like right around 200, like 20 something every
Yeah,
year.
and they can have really high batting averages because they're walking more. But they're not going to get the rack up those hits.
Yep.
right. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, the only thing about Ichiro that put him down on my list and not higher up is his OPS for his career is only 757, but that's it. That's literally the only thing that kept him at number 19 for me. Otherwise, he'd be higher.
Yeah, man. No, I listen. I love the guy. I'm glad one of us had him in the top 20 because he certainly deserves it. That's freaking awesome. He was high on my honorable mention list as one of the tougher ones to keep off, and one of my favorite players ever. So awesome, you had him.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, Al. You're
Oh,
number
okay.
19.
My what is it? My 19. What are we at here? 19.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So and there's a theme here. There are a lot of my favorite players ever are going to make this list, and and this guy's no exception. And he has a great nickname that if you put I think it's called a preposition in front of it, it became even more famous with somebody else. That is Tim Rock Reigns.
Ah, yes.
Yes.
So,
On my honorable mentions.
oh, good. And Jordan, did he make any of yours?
He did not make my list, but definitely was very high on my honorable mentions.
Awesome, awesome. So yeah, The Rock, man, just he had longevity, he had awesomeness. He was one of the best in the game at a certain point. There's a guy that I read big article about who's tried to make a case that Tim Rock Reigns is the most efficient base stealer of all time, and no,
Yeah.
that's not true. He is the most efficient base stealer of all time by stealing percentage. This guy was trying to make a case that he's the best base stealer of all time because of the percentage. That's what I was trying to say. Sorry. Um, Now I can't give it to him because there's another guy we'll be talking about eventually that is that. But he is, to me, he's the best base stealer of all time. He was a great defender, a great hitter, lifetime batting average of 294. He had a 6 season stretch from 81 to 86 where he stole at least 70 bases a season and capped out at 90 in 83. The most he ever got caught stealing was 16 times, and he stole 78 bases that season.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
His first 6 seasons, because the first two don't count yet, because he didn't have enough at bats. So his
Hmm.
first seasons, he had at least 70 steals.
Yeah, exactly. And then the next season, he stole 50 and got caught 5 times.
Yeah, on his career, 808 stolen bases and only 146 caught stealing.
And that percentage is number one all time in Major League Baseball for any base stealer with at least I think they capped it at I think you had to have at least 300 steals to count on that if it was something like that. Um, Yeah,
Can you
that's the
imagine?
stat. Yeah, here it is. Highest recorded stolen base percentage in Major League Baseball for players with more than 400 steals at 84.7%.
Can you imagine somebody having the year he had in '87? He batted 330 with 18 homers, 68 RBIs, 123 runs, and 50 steals
I mean, come on. We would be going crazy in fantasy. I
with
mean,
a
geez.
429 on base.
Incredible.
And his
Incredible.
OPS ended up at 810. That's a pretty good OPS.
Except for a leadoff hitter, that's incredible. You know? It really is. For a lot of these, the batting average guys are in the 700s, But it's a credit to him because he was an on base percentage guy. I mean, look at that freaking lifetime on base percentage. He
Yeah.
batted 303 for his career 413 on base percentage.
See, I
Wait, I'm
have
looking at, oh,
290.
I'm sorry. I looked at the wrong thing.
I have 294 batting average
And
with
385. I was looking at the last season. Sorry, bad, bad, bad. But
Actually, because we were talking about his steals, I didn't know this, but this was actually on the social media of MLB. He is the only player to steal 70 plus in 6 straight seasons.
yeah, the only player ever to do that.
Yeah,
Yep.
which
Yep.
like that's crazy.
yeah, it's hard.
The funny
It's
thing
incredible
is,
when you think about some of the great base stealers that he was the only one.
Yeah,
yeah, it's crazy. You would assume Ricky did that at some point, but I guess he didn't.
I
no,
guess not,
I
man.
would
Yeah, because
I
that's the
would have
guy I would
thought
have thought.
him or at least Lou Brock.
Yeah, Brock, man. I mean, geez, some of the old school guys, Ty
Yeah,
Cobb or somebody, Um,
yeah,
wow.
honestly, but yeah, no, yeah, you just an, a fantastic player, dude. I'm sad he didn't make my list, but yeah, but a great player, especially with all those stolen bases. Like Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's awesome. Yeah, and the last stat I want to throw at you for The Rock, because you don't think of this from, he was in the era of being a traditional leadoff hitter for most of his career. And you usually don't hear this kind of stat with that kind of guy, which is he had a 303 lifetime batting average with runners in scoring position.
which is fantastic.
Wow.
That's right in line with his
That
regular numbers. Like he didn't change.
Exactly.
yeah.
He was the Rock, man. He was the Rock.
Awesome.
And by the way, that nickname came about because of his hand strength. Apparently, somebody shook his hand his first spring training and said, "Man, your hands are like rocks," and that was it.
He, he was a
That's
short
so
guy
funny.
too. Well, he was only 5'8". I didn't realize he was that short.
Yeah, he was. Yes, and he was built like a tank.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Love it. So
Uh,
Tim Raines, there he is, one of my favorites.
All right.
that's great. Great pick.
Awesome.
Jordan, you're
Uh,
number 19.
no, 18. Um,
I'm sorry, 18.
yep. So 18. I wanted to put him higher, but I couldn't. Um, and that's gotta go with probably one of the best hitters ever, with probably one of the best quotes I've ever heard in my life, and
Ooh.
I will leave that, which is when the leaves are brown, I'll be wearing the batting crown. Dave Parker is my number 18.
Oh, I
Oh,
love it.
nice.
Love it.
I had to put Dave Parker on, and
When the
also,
Leafs are brown, I'll be wearing the batting crown.
yep,
That's
that's
awesome.
that's what he said. And also, I want to say 2025, he finally got in the Hall of Fame.
Yes. Yes.
Yep.
Awesome. Well deserved. Took too long, but I'm glad he's in.
So awesome.
Wow.
But yes, Dave Parker, number 18 on my top 20.
Love it. He was on my honorable mentions.
Yeah. Also, but first of all, that quote is amazing. I'm surprised. I never heard of that before. Um,
That's awesome.
but
That must have been from like 77 or 78, right? Because he won the batting title both of those years.
yeah, but excuse me. Yeah, which he a lot of stories, but I'll go with his numbers. Um, 290 average, 339 home runs, 2,712 hits. Probably one of the best players around that time for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Just
Yep.
a great all around hitter. Another thing that surprised me is he actually was going to choose football over baseball, and just looking at that dude's size, I mean, if he played football and he's running, I'm running to the bench. Um,
Yep.
if he came running after me, um,
That's awesome.
but yeah, definitely one of the best of his time. Also, get this, there's so many stories of Dave Parker, and this one's my favorite. I've never heard this, but while in the minors, he hit a home run that landed in a passing coal car on a train that ended up later uh being in, like, they ended up finding out when the train went into a different completely other state.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
I kid you not, I'm gonna look it up while we're talking, but yeah, I heard that. I'm like, there's no way that can be real, and like five other um websites confirmed it. I said that's honestly insane. He did that. Um,
Well, that's good
so,
stuff.
so he did that, and then what was the other one? Knocked the cover off the ball. That God, wait, he knocked the cover off the ball that erupted on one of the seams, like a pole, and just like they were like the echo was just like the one of the batters like just couldn't throw it. Like it bounced up the wall back in play, and like he's like, I can't throw this. And so they literally said like the right fielder or the outfielder just gave up. It's like, hey, you guys can do this. Like he literally, yeah,
He exploded a baseball. That's amazing.
yeah. Um, yeah, so yeah, Dave Parker, and also the nickname the Cobra. So
Yeah, great nickname.
That is a great
That's awesome.
nickname.
Great call.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you have him on there. I'm real happy that we touched on him.
oh,
Me too.
okay, here it is. So playing in the minor leagues in West Virginia, and when he hit the ball onto the train, it was found later in Columbus, Ohio. So the ball, so just for shits and giggles, they said the ball travel was like they're like the ball traveled 150 miles away.
So
So,
technically, it's the farthest home run ever hit.
yeah, so
That's
like
awesome.
insane that
That's so good. That's all good stuff, Jordan. Wow, that is good. I never heard that one.
I I didn't either until I saw that. I'm like, what? There's no way. And then I went like, I think I spent like 2 hours, and I'm like, I 5 other websites confirmed it. I'm like, there's no, that's not real. I read it like 5 times. I still can't believe it's true.
Incredible. Incredible. I love that.
Uh, but yes, Dave Parker, number 18 on my list.
Well done. Well done. Craig, you want to hit your what are we at now? 18, right?
Yep.
18, yes.
Okay.
My number 18 makes me a little bit of a hypocrite, um, because I usually try to keep guys that either I don't like or possibly cheated off these lists, but I can't deny the numbers. Possibly the greatest right hitting outfielder of all time, possibly. And that is Manny Ramirez. And the only reason why he's all the way down at 18 is because of the PED's possibility. So I had to penalize him a little bit for that. But I mean, 312 all time average, lifetime batting average, a 411 on base, 555 homers, 2,500 RBIs, 1,500 runs, 12 All Stars. Like I said, possibly one of the best handed hitting outfielders, right fielders of all time, or left fielders of all time.
Yeah, man. This listen. This is the and this brings up this discussion that we have with every position. It comes up with that era. What do you do? My
Right. I
personal
didn't.
decision was I just chopped them all off the list. But I
Right,
have
because I
no
did
problem
that
with him
with it.
being on the list.
I did that with A-Rod. I didn't put him on, but I'm
And
doing
I
it now
get it.
with
And
Manny.
it's so hard to figure out what to do. It's tricky case by case. There are guys that get thrown under the bus, and there are guys that are given a pass in the same era, and I can't really figure out why. You know what I mean? So there's no right or wrong with it, is what I'm saying, and I'm cool with whatever everybody decides to do.
Yep.
Right.
Career
And like you said, the stats are
996. Oh,
undeniable.
yeah, the career 996 OPS.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean his baseball reference page is just littered with bold numbers all over the place.
Yeah,
So yeah, he had 165 RBIs in 1999
Yeah.
bonkers, bonkers.
while batting 333 with a 442 on base and an 1100 OPS.
It's insane that he got through the career he had without ever winning an MVP.
Yeah, because he
Yeah.
had great numbers, but he was in that same steroid era, 1998. That was the prime McGuire and Sosa and all the home runs that all those steroids were running rampant, and people were putting up absolutely ridiculous numbers.
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, that era was insane. You're right, and it was. You can look at certain years by certain guys and be like, "How didn't they win the MVP?" Well, that's because that's the year Mark McGuire hit 70 home runs or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Right. No, I agree. Um, I like Manny. Me personally, I actually, when I started watching baseball, probably like one of the most entertaining guys in
Yeah,
baseball.
he was a
I,
character.
I still the play in Baltimore where he just made a great routine fly ball and then climbs the wall, high fives a fan, and just runs back to the dugout. It's like what? Or the
Or how
where
about when the inning started and he was in the Green Monster going to the
yeah,
bathroom?
yeah, which I'm like, huh? Um, but definitely, yeah. If it wasn't for the PEDs, I think he would have been one. He'll be on my list, which is I know it's kind of weird to say because I did have A Rod when we did shortstops, um, but I think he also been one of, like you said, probably one of the great outfielders. If it wasn't for the PEDs, I think he will get a lot more credit than he does. But just a just a wacky dude, just fun.
He was
Um,
fun.
he has all like you said, all his reference page is just bold until like pretty much this last year with Boston and the remaining years of his career. Um,
Yep.
but yeah, no, I like Manny. That's a good pick.
No doubt.
Yeah, he is an awesome dude, and yeah, that does shock me because I continue to look at his page. I'm like, I don't understand how he didn't win an MVP, but
Yeah, like
yeah,
Craig said it perfectly. It was that era.
yeah,
There's so many.
His RBI numbers are crazy.
They really are.
yeah.
They really are. It's his whole offensive page is insane, and the RBIs are the most insane. Um, I
This is
wish. Go ahead, please.
real quick.
Hmm.
He already had 200 RBI seasons in the bank. Then he had a low one of 88, and then he went on a run of 145, 165, 122, 125, 107, 104, 130, 144, and 102. Then another 88, and then 121.
It's insane. It's
What
That's
a
incredible.
run!
Absolutely incredible. I mean, it's just nuts. Yeah, I would the only downside to Manny, other than his quirkiness, which I personally love, is he is probably going to be the worst fielder by 10,000 times on this list.
Remember when he made a diving catch on a play that did not need to be diving,
Yes.
and then
oh yeah, he threw it. It was like 5 feet to Johnny Damon threw it. He just dove just because. Is that the play you're talking about, or is that not the?
yeah, yeah. And then after the game, they interviewed him about it, and he's like, "Well, I guess I can scratch the Gold Glove off my list. I guess
Like,
I'm off the Gold Glove list, or something like that."
yeah, like what the? I don't know. He was a wacky dude.
Oh, he was
Entertaining
such
as
a
all hell.
so
By the way,
amusing, so good.
to me, I know people are gonna go on. I still think he was probably one of around the time period he played was one of the best Red Sox at that time.
Oh,
Oh
sure.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's me.
No
Yeah,
doubt.
yeah. So that's good. And also another dude. No, I know. Again, we're getting out. I know we're getting out topic, but I just found this because I found an interview. What's up with the '04 Red Sox? And then anyone who played for Boston that just went on and said that they've always wanted to play for the Yankees. That's like I heard like at least four guys from the '04 Red Sox that said they were
Really?
so close. Manny has said it. Manny said that he would have signed, or I think he asked to get traded like in '03 or something to play for the Yankees. Pedro has come out and said that when he was with the Dodgers before he got to Boston, he wanted to play for the Yankees. Kurt Schilling said he was so close before he went to Arizona, he was going to sign with the New York Yankees. I'm like, what's up with all these '04 guys
That's
saying how close they were to playing for the Yankees?
that's wild. Yeah,
I didn't
yeah,
know that. I never heard any of that.
that's
Yeah,
wild.
the reason Schilling said that he didn't sign was because he wanted a challenge, and Arizona, um, was like that team coming up while the Yankees were already established. Man, he said just he was always a fan of the Yankees growing up, so he wanted to play but never got to.
Ah,
Pedro, again, same thing was Manny. And I'm like, what's up with all these guys that play for Boston? Now all of a sudden, be like, yeah, we were this close playing for the Yankees. I'm like, what the?
that's funny. Yeah, that's funny. I wonder if Manny would have cut his dreads to play for the Yankees.
Yeah, we would have had to.
Yep. That time. Uh, hmm,
Wow, good one, man. Good. Yeah, because this
yeah.
is the kind of this I love these kind of conversations because Manny, by pure numbers, clearly deserves to be on this. That
Mhm.
era is so messed up. We none of us know what to do with it from case to case. So, but it's good to talk about. So, and Manny was certainly deserving of being talked about. This is great.
100%. Also, I don't know if you guys play new, but he's a new legend in MLB The Show this year.
Oh,
Oh
nice.
no way!
Yep, they got
I
him. They got him in MLB The Show, and I'm happy. I'm like, woo, let's go.
oh man, yeah. I wonder if he'll just dive like just randomly. You got to start him in left at Fenway and see if he's there at the beginning of the inning. Oh, I love it. All right. So, Craig, that was your 18. So, my 18's next. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. Well, here we go. Continuing the theme of Alan's favorite players. um, this guy, just one of my favorites ever, and one of the best pure hitters of all time. You guys are probably going to figure out who I'm talking about because you know I love that term. Um, and just a tremendous career, tremendous guy. Gone too soon. Tony Gwynn.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Tony
Tony
Gwynn was
Gwynn.
actually my number 13.
Love it, Craig. Love it.
Oh, hold on. I got 5 pages to go through. Um, Tony Gwynn was was actually my number 9.
Oh, I love it. Wow. Cool. Cool. Yeah, well, that's awesome. Obviously, we all love Tony Gwynn.
Yeah.
Oh, one of the
I mean,
best, smartest hitters in baseball history.
yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it.
Ca-
I
Came
mean,
the closest to the 400 average. That
yes,
year he batted 394, right?
absolutely. That's exactly correct. Exactly correct.
In
Yeah.
1994, he batted 394.
And that was, by the way,
Insane.
that was the strike shortened season, and he was batting 422 in the second half.
Oh my God.
He was on
454 on
his
base that
way.
year. Oh my God.
Yep. Yeah, man. Lifetime 338 batting average. Crazy. Um, he was a big base stealer early in his career, which I kind of forgot. I mean, he hit 370 in 1987 and also stole 56 bases.
Yep. Yep.
Hmm.
I just don't think of him as a base stealer because I
Yeah.
remember Chubby Gwynn in the,
Yeah. He finished with over 300 steals.
Yeah, that's a significant chunk. Um, yeah, and just a marvel. And I found this great article about Tony Gwynn called, and I'm not going to read them all, just a few select ones, but it's called the 19 Facts About the Wonderful Career of Tony Gwynn, and I want to give you a couple of them. Including postseason play, Gwynn faced 18 Hall of Fame pitchers for a total of 541 plate appearances, essentially a full season's worth of plate appearances against exclusively Hall of Famers. Gwynn batted 331.
Oh,
In his entire 20-year career, Gwynn struck out 434 times. That's an average of 21.7 Ks a season. Last season in MLB, 129 players had struck out 22 times by the end of April.
Wow.
wow.
How awesome is that? And here's two more good ones. So since Gwynn debuted in 1982, a hitter has finished a season with a batting average above 350 only 46 times. Gwynn has 7 of them.
Wow. Unbelievable. He was so
And
good.
here's the last one. Gwynn batted 300 in every season but his rookie year, giving him a record 19 straight seasons above 300. JD Martinez is the current leader in MLB with 4 straight.
Wow.
So
With
if JD can play until he's 52 and hit 300 every season, he's got a chance to catch Tony Gwynn.
Holy. Oh, wow.
I've got a great quote for you if you will allow me to say the F word.
Oh, please.
Go ahead.
Greg Maddux talking about changing speeds. You just can't hit it. Sometimes hitters can pick up differences in spin. They can identify pitches if there are different release points, or if a curveball starts with an upward hump, or as it leaves the pitcher's hand. But if a pitcher can change speeds, every hitter is basically helpless, limited by human vision, except for that fucking Tony Gwynn.
That's awesome. Actually,
Oh,
Yeah, Greg Maddux.
that is
Uh,
awesome, Craig.
Yeah, and his batting average against Greg Maddux was something stupid too. Against all
Oh,
the greats, like you already quoted about all the greats that he faced and the average he had. Greg
yeah, that
Maddux
would
was
be
right
one
there
of the
with one
Hall
of
of
them.
Famers. Yeah.
Yep, he was one of them, except for
What a
that Tony
great
Gwynn.
quote. Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. Wow, I love that.
You're helpless except for Tony Gwynn.
Yeah, beautiful. Oh, and I missed one stat, and this is a really good one, so I want to say this. We know how great Wade Boggs is. He was on our third base list, all of us. Check this out. Tony Gwynn finished his career batting 302 with two strikes. That's easily the best mark for any player since numbers were first tracked since the mid 70s. Wade Boggs comes in second at 262,
Good lord!
40 points higher. And we know how great Wade Boggs is, and Gwynn was 40 points higher than him all time.
Wow.
I
nice.
love it.
I, I got a couple of stories to share for you, if you,
Oh, please.
if you don't mind.
Please.
He recorded 45 games with four or more hits, and one game where he struck out three times in 20 seasons. Think about that for a minute.
You're
Um,
great.
Tommy Lasorda said, "How do you defend a hitter who hits the ball down the left field line, the right field line, up the middle?" And then this is my favorite favorite Tony Gwynn story I've ever heard, because we were talking about how smart he was. So it was a game, and I can't remember the month, but 1996, right? They're playing, I believe, the Reds. It's either the Reds or the Phillies. They're playing, and they bring in the lefty to face Tony Gwynn. But before the pitcher can even throw a pitch, it starts to downpour, right? So
Okay.
they suspend the game. So I mean, it's like the next day, same lineup, same batter, pitcher. So he goes to one of his teammates. I can't think of his name. He was like a third base coach for the 2010 Giants. He was also a former player. I just can't think of his name. But he goes up to him and says, "Hey, tomorrow, this pitcher's gonna throw me a first pitch slider. I'm gonna hit it into left center, and the run's gonna score." He's like, "Be ready." And the guy didn't believe him. He's like, "Yeah, okay, Tony." Sure enough, the next day, first pitch slider, Tony Gwynn hits it right into left field center. The run scores, and he gets a double.
I love that guy. That's so awesome. That's
That,
so that's like a Ted Williams kind of story, you know?
yeah, yeah.
That's
So,
so awesome.
and yeah, he said that he found it. He said he found his teammate, and he's like, he pointed at him. He's like, "I told you."
That's so great.
And
Oh, I love that.
that's how smart he was.
Man, that's beautiful. That's good stuff. I think we're all unanimous in our Tony Gwynn love of his game.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Absolutely.
So good, man. I miss guys like that. You know, there aren't. I mean, there's only one Tony Gwynn, but the era of those type of hitters is all but gone, and I miss some of that. So and he was the maybe the best ever at that type of game
Oh, 100%.
between him and Ichiro and Rod Carew.
Yeah,
15 All-Star games too,
Yeah. Oh
yeah,
yeah.
and the most he ever struck out was 40 times.
Yeah. I know
yeah.
that's crazy, right? That's crazy. And he was probably really pissed at himself that year.
Yep.
Yep. Eight batting crowns, um, five Gold Gloves, seven Silver Sluggers, and then of course the nickname Mr. Padre.
Mr. Oh, I
Yes.
forgot the nickname. Yes, thank you.
You're
Yes, I
welcome.
had that written down and I forgot. Thank you. You know, when you get, there's a couple people on this list that are Mister This and Mister That. When you get that name, you know you did something special.
Oh,
Yep.
absolutely.
All right, Jordan to 17 now, I believe, right?
Yes, and I got a nickname for you. Let's see who can guess it. The nickname, well, actually, well, you'll probably get it, because his first name's in it. But the nickname, I thought it was hilarious. Buckfoot Al.
Wait, what is it?
Buckfoot Al.
Buckfoot Owl. Oh wow, that's funny. That's what they called me in elementary school.
So, if you,
Wait a second. I do have a guess. I'm not positive.
Oh,
Is
wait,
it
I do too.
Al Simmons?
Al Simmons is my number 17.
Nice. He was one of my honorable mentions. Great.
Hmm. Can you make yours?
I thought it was going to be Al Kaline.
No. He's later on my list. But
But
yeah,
That's
Al
no.
Simmons did not make my
Buckfoot
list.
Al.
Al Simmons did not make
Buckfoot
my list, but
Al.
he was one of the people that that I got rid of when I try to like keep my honorable mentions at a good number, and not have 25 of them. One of the ones that I got rid of was Al Simmons.
Right on, right on. Understandable, but he did make mine, and I did not because he didn't make the top 20. I didn't look at the nickname, and that's an awesome one.
Yep. Yeah, but dude led from the majors from 1924 to 1932. Led all the majors with around the time 1,796 hits. He his ranked second to Ruth in RBIs and fourth in home runs. Um, and also he also has 343 doubles, which it's kind of
That's a
insane.
lot.
Yeah,
Look
and
at his
then
RBIs.
yeah, his
Eight,
RBIs.
1,828 RBIs.
Hmm.
Yep. Drew
And
307 homers, 334 batting average, OPS over 900.
yeah, and also finished off with 2,927 career hits.
Wow.
So yep, Al Simmons, 17 for me. Really debated if I wanted to put him on, but I just said screw it and put him on for you never see people like this. Uh, I know he played in like the 20s and 30s, but he was just from the what I've read and what I've seen, I was definitely one of the top outfielders of his era.
Oh, yeah,
The
no doubt.
numbers fly off the page at you, Jordan. I mean, it's a
Yeah,
legit guy. I mean, look at his 19, 30, and 31 seasons. I mean, batted 381 in 30 with 36 home runs and 165 RBIs. And then he follows that up by batting 390 with 22 home runs and 128 RBIs. That's
Yeah,
great. That's
the year with 165 RBIs, he also had 152 runs.
Oh wow, yeah, good call. Wow.
yeah.
That's incredible, man. Incredible. So
Um,
yeah, no, this is absolutely legit, and what a great call. Yeah,
yeah,
the nickname though. Come on, I love
yeah.
it.
I saw that. I'm like, I had to write that down. 'Cause I know you. I know Al. I'm like, I know you're a sucker for nicknames. So I'm like,
You darn right.
um. Also, Connie Mack. One probably my favorite quotes is, "I wish I had 9 players named Al Simmons."
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Um. Yeah. Which it was crazy. Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is why I went with the home runs. He was ranked fourth behind Lou Gehrig, Babe Ruth, and Hack Wilson in home runs around that time.
Wow,
Yep.
it's
And
nice company.
it finished. He also uh finished highest second in MVP votes. Uh, um, among the top 10 for at least 4 times.
Mm, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a stud. Absolute stud. Yeah. Yep, good call. Love him that he made your list, and he was definitely an honorable mention of mine. He had one of the higher WARs of people that I left off, by the way, in a 68 point something, 68.3, which is right in line with Tim Raines and Tony Gwynn and a few other people. So just by the numbers, he is us 100% legit on this list. Love that he made it.
Totally agree. Can't disagree at all. I love that. Love that pick.
Thank you, thank you. All right, Craig, you're 17.
My 17 also has a nickname, and we all know it, Mr. October, Reggie Jackson.
Dude,
Ah,
we got one the same. He's my 17.
Awesome.
did
I didn't
not.
know there'd be any of that with this list.
Right. Yep.
Yeah,
I mean, the career batting average is only 262, but the OPS 846. You know about the home run, 228 steals he threw in, over 560 homers, 2,500 hits. But I mean, when you hit back to back to back home runs in the World Series, and get that nickname because his postseason numbers, besides just that, are absolutely ridiculous. Or just
Yeah.
overall.
Yeah, they are. He earned that nickname. It's not just something that came from one. Even if it was just that one World Series, he earned it. But it wasn't just that. It was over a career.
Yeah, his playoff numbers are he batted he batted 278 in the playoffs with a 350 on base, but he had 18 home runs.
Yeah, yeah, that's crazy.
18.
That's crazy. And that's 318 plate appearances, 281 at bats. It's not even a half season.
Yeah, his 162 game average for home runs in the playoffs was 38 home runs and 101 RBIs.
hmm Incredible. Absolutely incredible. And he had two subpar playoffs in as he was fading playing for the Angels at the end. And if you take them out, the numbers are
Oh,
even more insane. So
yeah, that World Series in '77 where he had the 5 home runs, I'm sorry, where he had 4 home runs in '78. He batted 417 for the playoffs.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Oh, incredible. The famous one was 77 where he hit the three home runs in the one game, but he was even better in 78.
Yeah, and he was better in '75 because he batted 417 again in '75.
Yeah, and he won the MVP in I was it 73 and 77, I believe. Yeah. He won the MVP with the A's and the Yankees in World Series MVP.
Yep,
And he
yep,
could have
yep.
won it more.
So, you know, yeah, his playoff numbers alone kind of put him in there. And yeah, he's one of the all-time greats, and I just want to make sure we get him on there.
I love it, Craig. You to me, tell me if this makes sense to you, Craig, having lived through that era. Um, to me, I think he may have been the first like megastar as a baseball player.
Yeah, remember when he signed with the Yankees? I don't need the Yankees to make me a star. I bring my star with me.
That's right. And he was the
Yep.
straw that stirred the drink.
Yep.
Yeah,
And,
they
But
named they
yeah,
named candy bars after him.
he was a little before my time when he first started, but I remember him on the Yankees.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I just remember, and it was one of those things that you were still seeing highlights of that three home run game all the time in an era where there weren't a ton of highlights when we were growing up in the early to mid 80s. And it was one
Right.
of those things you saw all the time. And it was just imprinted in your brain. He also predicted he was going to have a candy bar named after him one day when he was in the A's about to sign with the Yankees. And after that three home run game, they made the Reggie bar. Gotta love that. Um, got a couple Reggie stats real quick. He is the all-time major league king in strikeouts, and that at
Yep.
2,597. Part of there was a major sort of like for as good as Reggie was, as great as Reggie was, he seemed to catch a lot of crap from the media to me when I was young, growing up. Like
Oh yeah.
yeah, okay, cool. So And it was ridiculous to me. And part of the thing that they always threw on him was his strikeouts. Well, we know now nobody gives a crap about strikeouts anymore. He would fit right into modern baseball perfectly, and the one
Absolutely.
rap against him wouldn't be a rap anymore.
Yep. I agree. Totally,
Yeah,
totally agree.
yeah. Number two
Yeah.
all time in strikeouts, by the way, is Jim Thome, and nobody gave a crap that Jim Thome was striking out. I don't remember ever hearing about it. Hardly. You know what I mean?
Yep. I
Yeah.
agree. You make your list, Jordan, or no?
No, he made my honorable mentions.
Right
All right.
on. Right on.
I have one now
Yeah.
that's absolutely glaring that I think I really made a mistake in not putting him on there. Actually, there's two. There's when they come up, there's two guys that you guys are most likely going to have. One you're definitely going to have, and I really made a mistake not having them on the list. It was just really, really hard
Oh,
making
it's
this list
tough.
to
We're
begin
we're
with.
all leaving great players off. Yeah, absolutely. I'm curious to see which
Yeah.
two you're referencing when they come up. That's awesome. And by the way, if you want to make the best case for Reggie on this list, his 563 home runs are sixth all time at any position.
Yep,
Yep.
there you go.
Boom. There's my mic drop on
All
Reggie.
right.
All right, my
uh,
17 is also Reggie. So do you want to go to your 16, Jordan?
yes, and I'm curious if he made your list. I had to put him on. Um, and yeah, but my number 16 is none other than Albert Bell.
Oh, I love it.
Oh, nice.
Love it. Did not make my list, but
Did not make
we've
my
talked about
list.
him on the pod. I know Craig loves him too, unless I made that up, Craig. I don't think I made that one up, did I?
You didn't make that one up. He
All
should be
right,
in the
good.
Hall of Fame. The only reason
And
he's
I
not in the
love
Hall
it.
of Fame is because he was ornery to the media.
Yeah, because the
The
media
only,
doesn't like him. Boo hoo.
the
Get over it.
Yep.
only reason why he's not there, because his numbers, his seasons, he had some unbelievable seasons. Uh, that 1995 season was absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah,
Uh,
astonishing.
for a reminder, he batted 317 with a 401 on base, 690 slug, 50 home runs, 126 RBIs, 52 doubles, and 121 runs.
That's
And
insane.
by the way, didn't win the MVP. By the way,
Yeah.
He would have had to have bat 500 and hit 78 home runs to win the MVP the way the media hated him.
yep.
Yeah. And also, don't know if if I got this right, but I thought it was very interesting. Uh, he was the first player to hit 50 home runs and 50 doubles. And also became the fourth player to have 8 straight seasons of 30 home runs and 100 RBIs. The others being Babe Ruth, Fox, and Garrick.
Wow.
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 And then
That's
also,
incredible company. Wow.
also, if you want to know if this guy was, you know, destined to play baseball, here's a stat for you. And he said it himself in Little League, where they played 20 games. He hit 16 home runs
In how many games?
in 20 games. He hit 16 home runs. I think he was destined to play baseball.
That's awesome.
Yep. 933 OPS, one of the higher ones that we've had so far.
Yeah, massive OPS. Massive.
But I have to give him some love. Just like you said, his numbers are ridiculous, and for him not to get any love by anyone, it's. I mean, the numbers, dude. It's the numbers. I
Yeah.
mean, come
Yeah.
on. And if you want to say to me, like, oh, the media, you had like, all these writers want to be like, well, we didn't put him on because he wasn't nice to the media. Yeah, well, neither was Kurt Schilling, and you guys were 5 votes away for putting him into the Hall of Fame until he said, no, thank you, I don't want going. He deserves to be in.
Yeah, man. No, we've. I will spare my typical rant about baseball writers when this comes up because I've done it enough. But yeah, everybody knows how I feel about that. Suck it up, be big boys, get over it, and put the right guys in the Hall of Fame.
And also his thing too. If you guys ever want to watch something, Chris Rose, you did an interview with Albert Bell, and he just said like, and he confirmed the whole media thing. He was like, I didn't. He's like, I was never mean to the media. He just said I would never talk to a media, like 5 minutes before after a game. He was like, I just needed to cool off, and then I would talk. And they just, of course, they were like, oh well, he doesn't want to talk to us, so big bad guy. It's like, I mean, if a guy would just need 5 minutes to cool down because you had a bad game or something, then you let the guy be. Come on.
Exactly. It's
Do
not
you guys,
asking that much.
Al? Do you remember when he debuted in '89? He played in '89 and '90 under the name Joey Bell.
I was
Do
going
you
to bring
remember
that up, Craig. Yep. Yep. Joey Bell.
that?
Yep. And I think that
I
was another
forgot about
thing
that.
too. I think the media
I,
kept calling him Joey after he became Albert, and he got real surly about it, which I don't blame him. I mean, he asked him, it happened. It was there was a name changing brief phase. Remember Jorge Bell or George Bell became Jorge, and that was more of a Latino, like white people not saying stuff right. So
yep.
but he had to tell the media, my name is Jorge, not George. And Joey became Albert. There was another one or two that I'm not thinking of, but yeah, Joey became
My,
Albert Bell. That's right.
Mike became Giancarlo.
There you go. Good. Yeah. Yeah. Perfect. Perfect.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah. So that's my number 16. Albert Bell.
Great one. Love it.
I hate to be the time police, but if we have that hard out, we have got to move it.
Well, the good thing is too, if we've started hitting, and I'm with you. And we've
Yeah.
I mean,
we've
when you
started
think about
hitting a couple duplicates.
we're only on 16. We're an hour, and we're well in over an hour in.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's go.
Love it.
All
All
right.
right,
So yeah, Craig, you go.
is it my turn? Okay.
Yes.
Number 16 for me is Frank Robinson.
Uh,
Okay. Okay. Love it.
586 home runs, the only player to win an MVP in the American League and National League.
Yes.
yep.
OPS of 926, 1,800 runs, 2,900 hits. He just missed 3,000. 294 career batting average. Two-time World Series Gold Glove winner. World Series MVP. Rookie of the Year. Two-time regular season MVP. He won a Triple Crown. Frank
Yeah. Triple
Robinson.
crown. Love it. Great call. He is the first guy from our next podcast to appear on anybody's list today for me, and he was number 10 for me.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool.
He was my number 13.
Okay, so you're right
Love it.
there. That's cool. Cool.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I love
Frank,
him.
man.
Love Frank
What a
Robinson.
beast.
Man. And then he became a great manager, too.
Great
Oh yeah.
manager, one of the classiest people in the history of the game, just a baseball lifer, man. And a great all-time great, and one of those guys that loved the game and stayed around it as long as he possibly could. I love those kind of guys.
That 1966 season, the Triple Crown, won the MVP, batted 316, 49 home runs, 122 RBIs, 122 runs, 410 on base, and a 10 over 1,000 OPS.
Hmm. Yeah, Frank, man, what an absolute beast! And like you said, the only guy to ever win MVPs in both leagues. Absolutely incredible.
Yep.
Um, he is. I have to find it. He's either what fifth, I think, on the all-time home run list.
Yeah, 586, quite a bit.
To look that up. Also, here's a stat. Uh, his 26 walk-off hits, not home runs, hits, are the most in all of baseball.
Wait, can you
Really?
say that one again, Jordan? That didn't sink in for me. I'm sorry.
Oh, his 26 hits, walk-off hits, are the all-time
Oh,
in
I
baseball.
got you. Thank you. Oh, that's amazing. Very cool. So super clutch. Super clutch is what I'm getting from
Yeah.
that. Oh, by the way, let's not forget to mention he first black manager in baseball history.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. he just he's a trailblazer in a lot of ways too.
Oh,
He had an
here's
OPS over 1,000 4 times. But go ahead.
uh Frank Robinson is actually ranked 10th of the career home runs.
Cool, because all I could find was that he was fourth at the time of his retirement. So thank you.
Yo,
Yeah,
Yeah, I
man.
was gonna
Yeah, I
say
love it.
because I think you said Reggie was something like fifth or sixth or something. And I was
It must
thinking,
have been
there's
at
no
the
way.
yeah. That obviously again bad internet stats. So I apologize
it,
for that.
it happens to the best of us.
Yeah. Yeah, because
Uh,
Reggie was just behind Frank, so he must be, somewhere in the 10 to 15 range. But yeah, Frank, man, I mean, you can't say enough about him. I mean, he did it all. He won titles. He won two MVPs. He won a World Series MVP. He won an All Star Game MVP. He won the Rookie of the Year. He won two World Series. He wasn't known as a great fielder, but he even won one Gold Glove. Won a batting title. I mean, good
14
lord.
time All Star. Yep.
Yeah,
Everything you want, he did.
absolutely. And he would even be, he would fit into modern stats too, because anybody that has an on base percentage roughly 100 points higher than their batting average would fit right into the modern era real well,
Yep.
yep.
And not a big strikeout guy. He broke 100 once. I mean, he was
which
in
is
the 80s and
amazing.
90s.
Giving the
80s and 90s a lot, but not absorbent. Not a ridiculous number.
Yeah, given the power, it's incredible. He struck out. I mean, that's 1,000 less times than Reggie Jackson, and he put up like 10 more home runs.
Yep. So there you go.
And then
That's amazing.
also, also um, the most feared base runner of his era, and he said this, and I quote, "The baselines belong to the runner, and whenever I'm running the baselines, I always slide hard. I want the infielders to have that instant hesitation about coming across the bag at second or standing in their throw to make a tag. There are only 27 outs in the game. It is my job to save my team from every out possible."
Man, wow.
So, yeah,
I love
Frank
that.
Robinson.
Yep. All
All
right.
right. So, Al, you're 16.
Okay, so this guy was mentioned earlier, and his actual nickname is Mr. Tiger, and that is Al Kaline.
He
Uh,
is the person one of the people that I did not put on my list, and I am regretting it and kicking myself.
Oh,
When
that
I
was one of
mentioned
the two, Craig?
one of the two is Al Kaline. I didn't. He's on my honorable mention, obviously, but he did not make my list, and I'm really don't quite understand why I didn't put him on there.
I love it. Well, there's so many good players, man. Nobody's gonna be mad at you.
so, Al, he's my list. He's actually my number 11.
Oh, nice. Okay. And it's understand. I mean, listen, this dude's career WAR is, and we are now start on my list anyway. We are now jumping up a stratosphere in WAR. Okay, this my next 16 guys are all going to have very bloated wars in a good way. Starting with Mr. K-Line at 92.8, which is pretty insane. Um, a couple things about Al: 297 lifetime batting average, 855 OPS, 390. Imagine falling one home run short of 400. 399 home runs, 1,582 RBIs, even stole 137 bases. One of the best defensive right fielders ever, according to articles I read about him. Multiple, his arm and his range supposedly were awesome. 18-time All Star, 10-time Gold Glover, 68 World Series champ, won a batting title in 55 at 20 years old, by the way, youngest ever to win a batting title. He
Wow.
went straight from high school to the Tigers at
Wow.
18 years old. He graduated high school in June and then played for the Tigers same month. Um,
Wow.
he had at least 20 home runs and a 300 at batting average 9 times.
Damn.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's absolutely deserved to be on the list. He had 3,000 hits too, and
Yes, I forgot to
eight
say that. Thank you.
yep 855 OPS right there. Yeah, all the numbers are there. Just one shy of 400 home runs. Yeah, I don't know how I didn't put him on my list. Anyway, I should have had him on
No,
the list.
don't beat yourself up, Craig. It's okay. Lots of great players, but and John. I think was it John McGraw? I forget who the manager was now. I thought I wrote it down, but I didn't. I think it was John McGraw, but I could be wrong about that. Um, wouldn't let them send Al down to the minors for those first for it when he came right out of high school. And if you look at it, he didn't have a whole lot of at bats that year.
No,
Um, but they didn't want him messing with him. They said he was perfect already.
right.
Just give him
Yeah,
to me. Don't let any of the coaches down there mess with him.
yeah,
That's awesome.
it,
I
it
agree
wasn't
with
John
that.
McGraw. I can't remember the name, but that was the story. So yeah, Al Kaline, man,
Mm,
Mr. Tiger.
yeah. Also, here's an interesting stat. He hit 20 home runs and batted 300 or better 9 times in his career.
Jeez.
Mm,
Yeah, he was he was a he was a good player.
incredible. Yeah, and super consistent, super massive longevity. And one of those guys that played his entire career for one team. Mr.
Yeah,
Tiger.
And I like seeing that.
Yeah, it's so cool, man. It really is. It's super. Super. I mean, he started at 18 years old and played until 39, all with the Tigers.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's why he's Mr.
consistent.
Tiger.
Boom.
Oh, 100%.
Boom. I love it. Awesome. All
Uh,
right, man.
all right. What, 15 now?
Yes.
All right. Here's this one. I struggled with putting him so low. I'm mad I put him so low. But my number 15 is the Yankee Clipper, Jolton Joe DiMaggio.
Love it. He was a hard one to figure out how to place because of the wartime stuff. I
Yeah,
had him.
can you imagine if he didn't miss any time?
Oh, dude.
Oh yeah,
He he'd be somewhere in the top 5 and he might be number 1.
He missed his age 28, 29, and 30 seasons.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
That
He
sucks.
won he won 3 MVPs, 2 before the war, 1 after.
Comes back, leaves at 27, comes back at 31.
I mean, the best of his prime. And he was unbelievably good in the years he did play, but those are the best years of everybody's career. I mean, that's amazing.
Yep, and I have him, by the way, number 11. He was my number 11.
Okay, he's my number 12.
oh
Okay.
okay.
Yeah, we're
Um,
all in the same ballpark here on Jolt. By the way, Jolton Joe and the Yankee Clipper, 2 of the best nicknames. This guy had 2 of the best nicknames of all time.
um,
Hey, he's got it. They made a song when the 56 game hitting streak got snapped.
Really?
oh
There was a
yes, I
song. My
remember that.
grandfather knew
Yes,
it. I don't
Oh, I'm
remember
gonna have to
much of the
find that.
words, but there's a song on when the 56 game hitting streak got snapped. By the way, the 56 hitting streak, that I don't think that's ever going to get broken
I agree.
no, it's not.
because the pressure
You
is going to be insurmountable. The pressure is going to be through the roof on people once they get close. Somebody gets 40,
oh,
45, it's going to be insane.
I agree.
I completely agree. Completely agree.
Would you would you guys be shocked if I told you his 56 game hitting streak wasn't his most, but it's only recorded because it was in the MLB?
Yeah, I have that same thing written down. Go ahead
Yeah.
and tell the people. That's
So
awesome.
in the Pacific Coast League where he played, he hit in 61 straight games.
Well, how
He
about
sure liked a
this?
good streak, man. Holy mackerel.
How about this? In the majors, when he had the 56 game hitting streak, that when it got snapped, um, the day it got snapped, somebody at third base made like 2 ridiculous diving plays to take a hit away from him in that game. And then after that game, he went on another 18 game hitting streak.
Incredible. I didn't remember. I'm sure I read that when I was young. I forgot that. That's awesome. I
So
didn't.
if that
Oh,
guy
wow.
didn't make those two plays, the streak would be more like 67.
Yeah,
Man, that's incredible.
yeah.
Wow.
Or no,
It
77. 56 and 18. Yeah, no, 70. It would be like 74. Whatever.
Man, that's nuts. That's nuts.
yeah. He was a good player. Definitely one of the greats. Uh, yeah. I mean, even Mickey Mantle quoted him, and he's saying about like heroes are people who have all good in them, or all good and no bad in them, and that's the way I saw Joe DiMaggio, and even Ted Williams said was the greatest all around hitter I've ever seen play,
Wow.
and I agree.
Man. I mean, dude, this guy was something else. I mean, let's just throw some numbers here real quick. I mean, the guy batted 325. His career OPS is 977.
Oh,
Wow.
I mean, that's my brain is melting just thinking about
Yeah.
that.
apologies. Yeah, you did. All right, good.
I love it. By the way,
Yep.
real quick, check this out. Hopefully, this comes through.
There you go. You found it.
Well, what do you know? We need a hit, so here I go.
After the,
it's
I know the chorus is like, no more streak, DiMaggio.
it's Les Brown featuring Betty Benny. Joltin' Joe DiMaggio is the name of the song. That's so awesome. I'm gonna listen
That
to that
Don't
whole thing
forget, he
later.
also was married to Marilyn Monroe.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
So he won at life, too.
Yeah, he sure did. He sure did. Yeah, his last words were, "I'll finally get to see Marilyn again."
Yep, yep. He also
Man,
died.
he was a
He
king.
also was reported. His death was reported while he was still alive, and he saw it on the news.
No.
Yeah, apparently he called the nurse in and asked her if he was dead or not. Well, because like
That's awesome.
I don't know how the news why they jumped the gun or whatever, but he was pretty much on his deathbed. But he was in the hospital, and the news was on, and across the news it said Joe DiMaggio has passed away.
That's so awesome, man. That's so
That's
awesome.
crazy.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. All right. All
Love it.
right. All right.
Oh,
Craig, you're 15, I believe.
Okay, my 15. His number. Oh, by the way, Joe DiMaggio, real quick,
Hmm?
9 World Series,
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
come on, right?
nine, nine
Yeah.
Nine.
World
Yep.
Series wins,
Yeah.
3 MVPs. Okay, my
Mm.
next guy is um 3 time is a 3,000 hit. He has 3,000 hits, won an MVP, won a World Series MVP, 12 All Star games, 12 Gold Gloves. Kind of meant more off the field than he did on, but I need to put him on here. He lands at number 15, Roberto Clemente.
Oh, I love it, man. Yes, absolutely. I have him at 13.
I
Okay.
have him at 14.
Oh, how about
Oh,
that?
nice, nice. I
Very cool.
struggled where to put him.
Yeah, me too.
Um,
Me too.
Yeah.
yeah, like I said, he kind of means more off the field than on. Uh, but
But don't let that degrade his on the field in any way. And I know you're not because he was well. You know what? Real quick, and then go to town. What I discovered looking at Roberto Clemente this time around, to me, he's almost a Tony Gwynn, Rod Carew, Wade Boggs, but with way more power.
yeah, yep,
Yeah.
I agree. Yep,
Hmm.
yep. 834 OPS. Um, I thought he had a little bit more stolen bases. I didn't realize he only had 83 steals in his entire career. For some reason, I thought
Oh, interesting.
he,
Yeah.
he stole some bases. Um, but yeah, he had some. I mean, just absolutely great years. He had a year where he batted 357. Led the league in average 4 times. Career 317 average. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's got all the numbers you want.
I didn't remember he was such an average monster when I about reading about him as a kid, and doing this exercise reminded me or reinforced, I guess, or how great an average guy he was. I mean, he led the league in average 4 times.
That's what. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't bat less than 314 from 60 to 67.
Yep, yep. He
So
all over three. In 68, he batted 291. In 69, he batted 345. He finished his career batting 345, 352, 341, and 312 his last year when he was 37 years old.
yeah, man. And I mean, I don't remember. Do you guys, either of you guys know off the top of your head if he was planning on retiring? Because it sure doesn't look like it from those numbers. I know we know he died in the plane crash, trying to get relief to down in Latin America, but I don't remember hearing if he was retired or not. Because it looks like he could have kept playing for 3 or 4 more years,
Yeah, I mean,
I,
he probably could have at least another year or two for
another
sure.
year or two for sure. Yeah,
I mean, he
yeah.
batted 312.
Right, exactly, man, exactly. Yeah, and the other thing is he is widely considered to be the best right fielder of all time.
Yes, defensively.
Yeah, yeah, defensively. Thank you for clarifying. The
12 gold gloves.
12
yeah.
Gold Gloves consecutive, by the way, 12 in a row. um, he was another guy like Minnie Minosa who was considered a trailblazer for Latino players in a massive way. Um, so he had a trailblazing aspect to his career as well. He had 255 assists in the as a right fielder, which talk about the vagary of internet stats is either first or second of all time. I could not pin it down. Um, I mean, and yeah, and two-time World Series champ. He was a World Series MVP in '71, so he did it in the clutch too. You know, he's got a legacy for being a great man off the field, and sometimes it overshadows just how good he was on the field too. And his WAR, by the way, 94.9 for his career.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Wow.
And here's the thing that I actually saw, and I had to write it down. Um, the only, at least from my knowledge, the only player who didn't have to wait 5 years. The next year, MLB and the Players Union agreed to waive it, so they put him in year after he passed away.
Great fact. I forgot that, and that is really cool that they because I mean, baseball is notoriously just tight assed, and for them, it takes a lot for them to bend a rule, especially back then, and they did, and that's big credit to them.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. Al, it's your 15.
Okay, all right. I can't wait to see where this guy is for you, both of you. I'm just gonna say the name, Ken Griffey Jr. This guy,
Oh,
if it wasn't for
Wow.
the injuries, he would be way higher. Um, but where do you guys have him? I gotta know.
So Al, you're taking two of my guys for the next pod. he
Nice, nice. I only got one so far.
uh, he was my number 6.
Right on. And you can make a great case. I mean, I
he's
won't argue that at all.
he's on. He would have been in the next pod for me too. He's my number 8.
Right on.
He had
Yeah, and I wrote without
630
injuries.
home runs.
Mm-hmm.
630.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. No, no doubt. No doubt. The only reason I knocked him down, he is I actually put him one spot higher than by WAR. I should have if I was just strictly going by WAR. Um and that WAR is lower because of the injuries. And that's the only knock on the Griffey career at all. And it is a spectacular, awesome career.
Yep. The
Yeah.
630 home runs is what got me in terms of ranking him so high. That's a lot of home runs. That's way up on the list.
No doubt. No doubt. No doubt. Yeah, the problem for me is, as I was trying to figure out how high to put him, he is 9 points lower in WAR than the guy I put one spot below him, Al Kaline, and nobody's lower than Al Kaline after that on my list. So that's why I put him down at 15.
Okay,
Okay,
yeah, I
makes
can see
sense.
it. Um, yeah, 13-time All Star, 10 Gold Glove winner, 7 Silver Slugger awards. Um, Here's the crazy part. I never heard this. I want to know if you guys heard this. But when he got drafted by Seattle, Baseball America called his selection the best selection in history.
Oh, really?
Um,
Wow.
I mean, I guess they weren't wrong. Um,
Yeah.
Led the AL in homers 3 times, and just because I like to play the what if, um, and me and my dad talk about this a lot with Ken Griffey. Someone
Hmm.
said at the I think this was like an article from 2 years ago. If he stayed healthy, and he took the number of games he missed from the IL and matched them up for like his early years, he
Hmm.
would have 777 home runs in his career. That's what he was projecting, at least.
Yeah, and it was, and that's the thing with Griffey is it's crazy because he played a lot of games. You know what I mean? But there
Yeah.
was just that stretch when he was with the Reds where it just like he didn't top 83 games for 3 years. Just and that was at the end of his super prime.
Hmm.
That cost him some numbers. And the fact that he still has, like you said, Craig, 630 home runs, given all the time he missed in his career, 1,836 RBIs. It's crazy that he was able to accumulate all that with the amount of games he missed. So,
How
yeah,
about back-to-back 56 home run seasons?
yeah. And 147 and 146 RBIs.
Over 1,000 OPS, four separate times in the nines consistently. Career OPS at 907. That's what I'm looking at a lot in these lists. But yeah,
Yeah.
just fantastic. I knew we were going to hit on him, but that's fine. That he's where he is for me. Would have been in the next one, but as long as he's on here, I'm happy.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah.
And I'm
Same
cool
here.
with anywhere he landed on anybody's list. My note was without the injuries, he's top five for sure.
You're right. 100%. Also, his 630 career home runs is seventh all time.
Right on. Okay.
Yeah.
My Reggie Jackson fifth is looking sillier and sillier as we go.
Um.
I, I love it. Awesome. Okay.
All right.
So who next? Jordan 14?
Actually, I'm all set until number 12. My 14 and 13 were taken. My
Okay.
14 was Clemente, and my 13 was Frank Robinson.
Okay. Craig, do you have a 14?
I do. My 14 is Mel Ott.
Aha! He is my number 11.
Well,
And one of my favorite players to research doing this.
I'll just say I'm out. I'm out. He was my number 12.
Oh, I love, I love it. That's awesome.
I mean, 304 career average, 500 home runs, 1,800 RBIs, 1,800 runs. Super consistent. Obviously, Hall of Famer, 11-time All Star. Actually, got a World Series too. Um, and his baseball reference page is littered with bold numbers. They're
Oh,
everywhere.
it's ridiculous, isn't it?
I mean, I'm looking at it now. It is insane how much bold is on his profile. Career on base of
It's
414.
Jesus.
yeah.
947 OPS.
That's nuts.
Yep. 414 on base for his career. He had an on base over 400. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 years of his 22. He had a career on base over 400. One year was 449.
Incredible, man.
He has one
Incredible.
448, 442.
Or 58 in 30. Wow.
Yep. 390 and
He.
a lot of 390s too. 397, 392. So right there.
Incredible.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely incredible.
In
By the
over a
way,
thousand OPS, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 7 times career OPS or yearly OPS over a thousand.
it's nuts. Nuts. Okay, did any of you see his nickname? Because this is my favorite one that I didn't know.
I did.
Other Okay, other than the one that Jordan brought earlier with what was it, Hookfoot or whatever?
Oh yeah. But I can't think of it.
Buckfoot,
Yeah.
Buckfoot.
Buckfoot, that's
Yeah.
right.
Buckfoot out.
So Melot is Master Melvin.
Yes, that's a
Master
great one.
Melvin.
That
That's a
is a good
great
Yes,
one.
one. His
I
career
love
WAR,
that
by
one.
the his WAR is 110.9. By the way,
Yeah, yeah. That's why I had him all the way up at 11. I just, it's hard to figure out what to do with these guys sometimes, and sometimes I lean on that when I'm not sure.
It.
But um he made his major league debut at 17 years old.
wow.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. 11-time All-Star, won a championship with the New York Giants in the midst of the great Yankee teams of the 20s and 30s. They won in 33. 400 wait, what was his oh shoot, I didn't write down. 511 home runs, 1860 RBIs, which Craig already said, but I say that again to emphasize the fact that this man was 5'9", 170 pounds.
Yep, yep. He played his entire career, all 22. He played 22 years, all on the Giants.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes. Legendary love of the game. He was a mentor to guys. He just loved it. He would have lived at the ballpark if they'd have let him. Um, he led the league in home runs 6 times. It had 9 seasons over 100 RBIs. An absolute beast. I love that you brought him up. And yeah, he was a guy I read about when I was young and remembered and certainly revered and all that. But I didn't really know just how great he was until we did this. And it was cool to see.
Yep.
Yep. I agree. Yeah.
Master Melvin.
Was definitely one of definitely one of the best. I kind of had a stat here if I could find it. Um. Oh, one of four and the first NL player with at least 1,800 runs scored. When 1,800 runs scored, 1,800 RBIs, and 1,700 walks.
Oh, I saw that too. I'm glad you read that. I forgot to write that
Jeez.
one down. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yes, great stat.
yeah. So Melot definitely up there with the greats.
That's
Yep.
awesome. Yes, good call, Craig. Love it. And that was your
Uh,
14, so my 14, is that correct?
yep.
Yeah.
All right, man. Now, I love a good nickname. And this man is so identified by his nickname that I didn't even write down his real name. And that is Yaz, Carl Yastrzemski.
That's the second guy that I didn't put on the list that I should have.
Oh, okay, okay. Right on, right on. And Jordan, what's your status with Yaz?
So I'm just gonna say you like to take my guys from the next podcast, don't you?
This is
I'm
the
just
second
poking,
time
huh?
that this is the second time Jordan has somebody in the top 10 and I don't have on the list.
That's the fun of this stuff, though,
No,
and it's legit. Like,
this is
you can make a great case, you know what I mean? Like,
so.
there's
So
nothing like,
let me say something, Al. You took
please.
three of my guys. You took Tony Gwynn, who was your number 19. You took Griffey Jr., who was your number 15. And now you just took Yaz, who was my number 10.
Oh, I love it, man. Well, I only had one poached, and that was my number 10 by Craig. So that.
Yeah, me too. I
uh,
have yeah, my Griffey was poached.
uh,
Yep.
that, I, that's awesome, man. Well, listen, I want to bounce right off of that stat you just read about Melot as we get into Yaz, because you just read the thing about the 1,800 runs, 1,800 RBIs, and 1,700 walks. Well, guess what Yaz did? 1,800 runs, 1,800 RBIs, and 1,800 walks. And he is third all. He's one of, you said Melot was one of four guys all time. He is one of three guys all time to do that. And the other two are Ruth and Barry Bonds.
Wow.
Wow.
He had 3,400 hits too.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what?
Yes.
I gotta put him on and replace my number 12 guy because I'm looking at my number 12. He doesn't measure up. I think
Okay.
I think I'm going to officially change. Do for the first time ever on the pod. I'm changing a pick of mine.
I
On
like it.
the fly.
Breaking news. Breaking news.
Yeah, Yaz is 12 for me.
Do you want to tell us now who that 12 was, or you want to wait until your 12
It
comes
was
up?
Duke Snyder.
Okay, and he's on my honorable mentions, and I think that's a legitimate swap. And Duke would have been great on this list too. I wouldn't have argued it.
Yeah.
No, I mean the reason why I had him on there was because he has five years in a row and I think he's the only player to do this of hitting 40 home runs or more 5 straight
Wow.
years.
Wow. Yeah,
And
Duke's a legend.
that's
And
initially why I put him on there.
yeah, no, and nobody was. I mean, I certainly wasn't gonna scoff at you for having Duke Snyder on your list, my man. But I
And a
do. I
919, yeah, and a 919 OPS, which is pretty high.
yeah, freaking darn right, darn right. Yeah, the Yaz thing, man. He was just like great for so long. He was the last guy to win a triple crown before Miguel Cabrera did it a couple years ago. It took what almost 50 years or 40 years to get that 50 years to get that thing repeated. Um, Craig, we were talking on a football podcast yesterday about organizations that have greats at a position, the Packers having all those great quarterbacks and all that. Well, guess who Yaz took over for in left field and then continued for the next 22 years or whatever it was? Ted Williams.
Yeah, so there you go.
So,
Yep.
yeah, the Red Sox have a little bit of a left field thing.
Yep. He was an 18-time All-Star,
18
7 Gold
times.
Gloves,
Yeah.
7 Gold Gloves.
Woo! 3-time batting champ.
Yep.
Look at the numbers in 1967. I have to get my screen back up here. His numbers in
Jesus Christ.
1967 when he won the Triple Crown.
That's
He
insane.
led the league in everything.
Everything. It's black all across the board. He
He led
legitimately
in
led the
WAR,
league in one,
runs,
two, three,
hits.
four.
Yep.
He led the league in 13 stats, according to Baseball Reference that year. That's nuts.
That's yeah.
Yeah, he was something else, man. And he is just one of those guys. He could be Mr. Red Sox. You know what I mean? Like if there wasn't a Ted Williams. But
Yeah.
he's just one of those guys that is just associated with his town, his team, and will be forever. And just greatness all over.
Yep.
Oh, and his career WAR 96.5. I don't know if we said that, which is a
Jesus
monster
Christ.
number. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, definitely one of the the better players. Definitely uh definitely a guy. Like I knew he was gonna be on my list. I just didn't know where to put him. Um, so that was like always like the hard one. But yeah, no, like he had monster years and a monster career through how what do we play for like 23 years? Jesus, um, like he played well into his early 40s. Gee, you don't see that anymore. Damn.
Yeah, he was a special guy, man. He really was. He was
Yeah.
something
Oh,
else, and he
oh.
he loved the game.
Also, he became the first AL player to tally more than 3,000 hits and 400 home runs. That's a nice stat for you right there.
Man, yeah, he really was awesome, man. And he was the Lord of the Green Monster, He was he patrolled that Green Monster for it was 23 seasons this guy played. And
Yeah,
I mean, he was just a fixture, and he was great almost the entire time.
I agree.
All right. Yes, well, we know you're out, Jordan.
Yeah, that was what your
Correct?
so you guys
Who was
is
your 13 again, just to remind us?
Frank Robinson.
Oh, nice, nice. So, Craig, do you have a 13? I do not.
Nope.
Mine was Clemente.
Mine was Gwynn.
Okay.
Okay, so you're 12.
You have 12.
My 12 was Mel Ott.
Mine was Jolton Joe. So I'm out as well.
Mine was Jastrzemski. Just now,
Oh,
it's the change I
Oh
made.
yeah.
It was
oh,
Duke
that's right.
Snyder. It was Duke Snyder, but I changed it to Yaz.
Okay.
Right on.
So 11. My 11 was Al Kaline.
Mine was Joe DiMaggio.
I'm out too. Mine was Melot. So
So
we
we're
are,
done.
So we're done.
and we have 9 minutes for honorable mentions. That's awesome. Well done, gentlemen.
Well, I think we should do a couple on this one and a couple on the next one.
Oh, that's a great call. Yeah, save some for the other pod. Good call.
Okay. Yeah,
Well,
I like that.
I'll start at the bottom of my honorable mention list then when it's my turn. So you guys go right ahead.
Well, first thing I want to mention is I did not put Pete Rose or Stan Musial on this list because I put them on the other lists at other positions. So I'm not putting them on here. If you guys didn't have them on those lists and you have them on these lists, that's fine. But I don't have either one.
Right on.
So at the bottom of my honorable mentions would be Vladimir Guerrero Sr.
Love it.
Yep, he
Love
was
it.
mine. Well, he was on my honorable mentions.
I mean, just uh, talk about hitting a ball that would bounce up and hit a ball from anywhere it was pitched. He was the quintessential guy at that.
It's so funny because every time I say that about Ichiro, I also see Vlad doing it.
You know, he missed some time too with injuries. Another guy who I think if he played, didn't get hurt and played a little longer, he probably would have, gotten to 500 home runs and done a few more things. But obviously, Hall of Famer, great career, and definitely deserves to be at least mentioned on this list for sure.
100%. I love that one, Craig. Love it. Jordan, do you want to pop one out before me?
Uh, yeah, I'm trying to find. Actually, no, you go because I'm still looking through my pages.
Okay, great. No problem at all. No problem at all. So this is a guy. I think this is the only guy on my list. I'll have to double check that. There might be one more. I'm not sure. I'm not 100%, but he's one of the few, if not the only guy on my list that's not in the Hall of Fame. He is one of, and maybe the most spectacular defensive center fielder I've ever seen in my life, and that was Jim Edmonds.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I was pleasantly surprised to see how his WAR racked up compared to all-time greats. His WAR is 60.4. You get into the 60s and you're in the Hall of Fame territory. I mean, I had three guys on three guys on my list earlier. It's 20, 19, and 18 all have WARs in their 60s. So, and that guy, man, that he was a human highlight reel. He really was. I mean, you couldn't turn on SportsCenter without seeing a Jim Edmonds highlight, except when he was hurt, because he was hurt all the time because of these highlight plays. He made Ken Griffey look durable, but but no more spectacular center fielder than I've ever seen, and he was a really good offensive player too. You know, he had a career. Check this out. Would you have guessed this, either of you, that Jim Edmonds has a career OPS of 903?
No.
Really?
Yeah, that shocked me.
Huh.
I would have never guessed that.
No, me either. Me either. And in large part because his on base percentage really got improved over the course of his career, I guess, because he wasn't great when he started, but by like 2000 when he was playing with the Cardinals, he batted 295, but had an OPS or an on base percentage of 411.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So even though I watched this guy play, looking at these lists and different things, I started getting the feeling that old Jimmy is even a little underrated, even though I thought he was awesome. So I wanted to bring him up.
Awesome. That's cool.
No,
I
that's
Nice.
like
very
it.
cool.
Well,
An honorable mention for me. Now that I'm actually finding it, uh, I know his numbers aren't like spectacular, but to me they're good. I actually had Andre Dawson as an honorable mention.
oh, he was my other one.
That's who I was going to say next. That's awesome.
Yeah, I had him. I mean, just like you said, what wasn't like his number. I want to say they were terrible, but like they were in the middle, like 278 batting average, 438 home runs, 1,591 RBIs, had a an on base percentage of 323, and his WAR was 64.9.
Yeah, man. I mean, absolutely. And
Uh,
is he in the Hall of Fame? Yes, he is. Okay, because he was one of the guys I wasn't 100% about when I was talking about Edmonds. I thought he was, but I wasn't sure.
I would say he better be in the Hall of
He
Fame.
better be. He better be. But you know my opinion of baseball writers, so I'm never sure.
Yeah,
His 87 season, by the way, is outrageous.
it's ridiculous.
49 taters, 137 RBIs. The freaking Hawk. I remember him just having this hose too from right field.
Another
Um,
great nickname, the Hawk.
the Hawk,
Yep,
man. Yeah, absolutely, Craig. Absolutely. Yep. And the Hawk played with the Rock for a long time.
Yep. Those, I tell you what, those Expos teams in the late 90s, I know
yeah.
that was earlier, but the late 90s Expos teams, they had They had everybody on that team. They had the Larry Walker and Randy Johnson and Pedro Martinez. That
They
team
Uh-huh.
was
were they were
stacked.
arguably one of the best teams never to win a championship. With
Totally
those, some
stacked.
like maybe with some of those Seattle Griffey teams and a few others I could
Yeah,
think of.
I don't know why I said late '90s. I meant early to mid '90s.
Yeah, because they got interrupted by their best team got interrupted by the strike year in
It was
'94.
supposed to be them and the
Right.
Yankees that year. They both had the two best records in baseball.
Yeah, was the big cat on that team too? I think Andres Galarraga, or was he in Colorado by then? I think the
I
big cat
think,
was still there.
yeah, Andres Galarraga, because I don't think Colorado was a team yet, right? They came in,
That's right. They were about to be in '95. That's right.
yeah, yeah, yep,
Yeah, great. Yeah, that's yeah, the Hawk man. Great call. Love it. Love it. Absolutely on board with that one. He was on my list. You got one more, Craig? I get
yep,
yours and
yep.
mine, and then call it on this one.
Sure. I had Dawson as one, but I have one more, and it is a Hall of Famer, Sam Crawford from back in the day.
I'll do. This was a guy I couldn't wait to talk about. You do your thing, and then I have one thing about this guy.
First game was in 1899. He has an over 800 OPS. He didn't hit a lot of home runs, only 97 his entire career, but he had 2,900 hits, almost 3,000, and a unexpectedly high WAR, which is why I had him on there. 75.4 WAR, which is pretty high.
Yeah, Craig. He has the highest WAR of anybody that didn't make my top 20.
Yep, 1,500 RBIs, 1,300 hits, runs. I'm sorry, 309 career batting average, and he's got quite a bit of bold on his page as well, and he's the career leader to this day in triples with 309.
And that's what I was going to bring up. I love it. He is the all-time triple king. I mean, this guy led the league in triples 6 times. He had over 20 triples 5 times. I mean, he was the all-time triple king.
I don't think anybody's ever going to have 300 triples again in their career.
I was just about to say, Craig, talk about records that will never be broken. I would bet on that over almost all of them.
Three, I just could not believe that 300 triples.
It's bonkers. It's absolutely nuts. It really is.
Uh-huh.
Like you
Yeah.
think about speedsters nowadays, you know what I mean? That are triple candidates. You're lucky to see anybody break double digits in triples ever in a season anymore. Um,
Yeah, this guy
and
was
yeah,
breaking
just
20.
yeah. I mean, like you said, the bold numbers on this guy's page, especially in that triple category, are ridiculous. Yeah, man. No, that's awesome you brought him up because he was my number one left off guy. I almost squeezed him in over Whitey Ashburn, but I had to go Whitey.
Nice.
All right. Well, my last one then for the day will be, and this guy, I remember, I never, this guy I was a little too young for, but what I knew about him, I just thought he was cool, and that is Billy Williams.
Oh, okay. I
Oh,
like
yeah, yeah,
that's a
yeah.
great name.
Billy Williams, man, this guy, he played for, he was a Cub for most of his career, 2 years at the end with the A's, played from 59 to 76. And he racked up some numbers, man. Like, he's got 426 taters, 1,475 RBIs, career batting average of 290, OPS of 853. The season to look at with him was his 72 season with the Cubs. And at 34 years old, he batted 333, had an OPS of 1.005,
Damn.
37 taters, 122 RBIs. So he was a hell of a player, man. He was the rookie of the year in 61. And an all-star, how many times? A lot. What was it? 6-time all-star. He won a batting title. So Billy Williams is my last alternate for the day. I
Was he
always
was
thought he was
he
kind of.
was he like an executive or a GM or something,
I'm not
or
sure.
a union rep? I could have sworn he was an executive. I could be getting him confused with somebody
You
else.
might be right, Craig. I'm just not sure off the top of my head. I'll look it up.
Let me see.
He was an executive advisor for the Chicago Cubs. He was also
It would have been a higher profile position.
Yeah, that sounds like a ceremonial thing for a great player. Oh,
Yeah, so maybe not. Maybe not. I must be confusing him with somebody else.
well, it's okay. Yeah, no worries. I'm not seeing it quickly. But yeah, no, this guy just deserved mention, I thought, and he was, he's one of those guys that was playing for the Cubs when they were in there. What ended up being almost 100 years of losing, but but he was a hell of a player for a long time, man. He really was.
Wasn't it over 100 years? Yeah, it
Yeah,
was,
whatever
right?
it was. So yeah. The
Yeah,
the
it was
epic.
1908 to like 19 to 2000, what,
What was it?
14, whenever they
14, 15, something like
whenever
that.
they yeah, they won.
When
So
they
yeah,
when
they won
Epps
they went
when
over
old
100.
when old Theo brought him home.
Wait, you talking about the one the streak was broken, or
Yeah, the Cubs losing streak,
I think it was I think it was 106.
106.
There you go.
Amazing. I love it.
It
All right, gents. I got to call it there. If you guys want to continue, feel free. That was so much fun. I appreciate it, Jordan. Man, what a fun time doing this. And man, I love, we only had one thing I think that was exactly the same. I don't remember what it was anymore. Was it Reggie at
It was
17? Maybe you and
yeah,
me,
I think
Trey.
that's what it
yeah.
was. Me and
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. But man, what this is so much fun. I can't wait to talk top 10. And
Yep.
let me know when you guys want to do it. I'm in.
Absolutely. We'll figure that out off air, and we'll definitely get to it.
Sounds good. All right. Are you guys going to keep going, or should I cut out, or do you want to do a wrap up, Jordan?
Uh, I was probably gonna just do. I was gonna probably just do a wrap up.
Yeah, cool. Do your thing. Awesome.
All right. So that was part one of our two-part podcasts of top 20 greatest outfielders. We'll do a part two. We'll figure that out off air. But guys, thank you for joining me. That was a lot of fun. Had a blast doing this. Again, one of
Thanks
the
as
hardest lists we
always.
ever did.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then for that, I'm gonna sign off, and I will see you all in the next one.